We played in there what they call the playoffs. We played 4 different teams. And you couldn't have, if you would have bet this in Vegas, you'd probably win a lot of money. They tied all 4 games.
Wow.
That gives them a point in every game. That's 4 points. However, they lost in overtime, every one of those games.
Wow.
But that tells you what quality this team is played over this year, where they've developed, and where they're at today. So taking that, now they were there Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. They flew home. They were up Minnesota time at about 3 in the morning to catch an aircraft. They fly in through Denver and get here at about 10:30, quarter to 11 in the morning. They vanned back from Sacramento to Stockton St. Mary's High School, where they got out, went home, changed clothes, changed their bags, so to speak.
Right.
And we all that Monday loaded onto a chartered bus again. And a great bus driver, Rob, if you're out there listening, great time, Rob. Great bus driver. So anyhow, we all hop on a bus. We leave St. Mary's about 4:30. We're on the road to Irvine. We get into Irvine at exactly midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning. We all get out of the bus, we get our rooms, and off we go. So that's where that's Monday. So Tuesday, we played Tuesday night against J. Sarah, which is a team obviously in the Anaheim Duck League. We go to the game, and we end up winning that game 5-0. So that advances. Meanwhile, if you are eliminated, you lose one game, Roy, you're out.
So
every game that we loaded up for, we had to pack our bags because we were leaving from the game to come home.
Right.
So we go there, we win, so we're excited. We get to come back. A shout out to Spring Hill Suites in Irvine at John Wayne Airport. Great staff, great establishment. That's where we stay. That's our home away from home. So then we come back for Wednesday. Wednesday, we play Capistrano United, a very, very strong team in that league. And we went up on them 2-0, and I think they came back and they scored. Anyhow, we got to the point where it was 3-2 with about 6 minutes and change left in the game. They cross-checked one of our players. He goes down on his back. His feet come up. And he thought the player was going to fall into him, so he stuck his foot up. And anyhow, it looked like a kick. I think he was just trying to spit, but you cannot do that with skates on.
Right.
So they gave him a 5-minute major penalty.
5 minutes?
5-minute major. Difference for the people that don't know between a minor and a major is once it's a major penalty, they can score at will, and he doesn't come out of the box. So we take a 5-minute major, plus he gets a game misconduct, so he's done for that game. And then he was done for what eventually became our Friday night game against Santa Margarita. But before we get there, on that same situation, the Capistrano United team took a 2-minute cross-checking. That's how Jimmy went down. He was cross-checked, went down on his back. Then what he did cost him a 2-minute. They gave him a 5-minute major plus the game. So it's 6 minutes and change left in the game. We had a 4-on-4 situation for 2 minutes. So that gets you down to around 4 minutes to go in the game. And then it was a 5-on-4 for the rest of the power play, which was 3 minutes, obviously. We killed that off. It was amazing. And Toby Bell played his rear end off. Wow. I mean, unbelievable what he did and how he kept us in that game. So we're ahead 3-2 with 1 minute and 26 seconds to go in the game. We become full strength. So we're 5-on-5. They take a timeout, which was kind of goofy because normally that doesn't happen. Usually the team ahead would take the timeout, but they took the timeout. We come back out on the ice, and most of those kids that were out there on the ice, and I can't even tell you who they were at this point, but they're pull their goaltender, so it's 6-on-4, or excuse me, 6-on-5. We play it down to about 22 seconds to go. They don't score, but they must have had 5-6 shots. Puck comes out to center ice. Couple kids got it to center ice and it was flinged down to their end of the ice in the corner. We got a call, I believe, for icing. It couldn't have been icing because they played it in center ice. But anyhow, we got a call for it to come back. And with 2.2 seconds to go in that game, they dropped the puck and the time expired and we won it, which was a great win for the boys. That pushed us off to the semifinals against Santa Margarita. And for the people that weren't down there, those rinks are very nice. Great ice is a great. That's the first time I've been there. It has 4 sheets of ice. That where we played was rink 4. The scoreboard is something that you would see at Golden One or the Shark Tank. So we get there Friday night. The boys are pretty pumped up to play. They made it to the semifinals. That means they're in the top 4 teams in that league, which has 9 teams in our division. We dropped the puck against Santa Margarita. They're the 2-time defending champions in that league. They scored 2 quick ones on us. By the end of the first period, it's like 2-0, and we're flat. I mean, we I don't know what it was, but we were behind in the game, and the coach at the end of the first period, he takes the whole team on the ice, and during the brief stoppage between periods,
right,
he gets them all at the blue line, our offensive zone, and he skates them around the net and to the blue line twice during that stoppage. And he was telling them, hurry up, get moving, get your feet moving. And even the commentators, and we'll talk about those guys a little later, they said, we've never seen this before. But Coach knew they had to get into the game and get their mindset and don't worry about the score. So that being said, they came out. We end up tying that game 2-2. The end of 2, we're tied at 2. End of 2, tied at 2. That's pretty good, huh?
2-2.
2-2-2. And so they take the intermission. They cut the ice down there between the second and third period. We come back out, and again, we take the lead 3-2. With again, it was right in that 6-minute mark at the end of the third. We take a 3-2 lead. The boys, you could just see the blood pumping through them. They realize they can actually beat this team. They have never beat that team, and we've lost 5-1, 6-1, 8-1. So they've handled us pretty easily. And now we're in the driver's seat. And they came out. They pressured the puck. That team, really, and they're a good team. What happens in that case is they're not used to playing from behind. Now the pressure's all on them because we're the upstart kids, second year in the league. They're supposed to be handling us, and they weren't.
Right.
So the pressure all became on them, and they played like that. I mean, they took shots on goal, don't get me wrong, but they were never the power and the strength came from our side of the red line. And the boys held on, and they beat them 3-2, which pushed them into the championship game.
Was that Santa Margarita that they beat?
That's who they beat that game.
Yeah.
And then we faced Pacific Ridge, who we've beaten twice, I believe, during the season. Very good team. Actually, one of the boys that plays on the team has played with several of our boys throughout his hockey career. So here we go for Saturday night, a championship game. Now, not only for St. Mary's that they made it a championship game, which is history for St. Mary's,
right,
because they weren't there,
right,
but for the Anaheim Duck League. Anaheim Duck League has been in existence, I want to say, 10 years. It might be 9, but I believe it's 10. Anyhow, never in a championship game has there not been a team from Anaheim in it. First time. Pacific Ridge is from Carlsbad, California, and we're here from Stockton, California, and we're the two combatants in that game.
Right.
And the boys just came out. Be honest with you, they didn't play very well for whatever reasons. I couldn't tell you. I can't say it's fatigue because that team was also in Detroit back there. So both those teams that were playing their 8th game in 10 days, which is a lot of hockey. They came out. Actually, they dominated the first period, but we scored a goal. So we were up 1-0, and then they just kept the pressure on us, and they were out maneuvering us to the puck. But we ended up losing that game 4-1. But our heads were held high because of what they accomplished. They really played very, very hard, except for that game. We'd like to get that one back, but we got a shot this weekend at that.
Wow, what a journey, though!
What an
exciting journey for everyone involved with the hockey organization, the club, the coaches, the players, and it was a magnificent run. And I'm sure that they learned, within those last, 10 days, they played 8 games. They played competitively in each one of those games. For them to come out and make the championship game, everybody had to feel pretty good about that.
Yeah, they were all actually. We were taking the bus back to the hotel, and the boys were actually singing songs. I mean, they were just. Very gracious about winning. It was a good learning experience for the club, and they learned a lot back east. What has really impressed me is even when they went down 2 goals to the defending champs, they never gave up, man. They never gave up. They fought their way back and won games. So we were talking about it on the bus ride home Saturday night that they scored. In the last 10 games, or 8 games, they scored 9 points in those games because the tie gives them 1, and they had a tie in Colorado before that, so they have 5 straight ties.
Wow!
Plus the wins that they had, the 3 wins that they have, so that's 5, 6, and 2, 6. That's about 12 points actually.
Right.
My calculations are right in the last 9 games. So. They played very well. They were very competitive. Each and every one of us that are involved, even the boys, are very proud of what they did. So that leads us up to this week. Today they left the school around 4 o'clock, 3:30, 4 o'clock, and they're heading back down to Riverside, California.
Back to Riverside.
Where they play in the state championship. So this is for the state of California in Division I high school hockey. Division I. Talked a little earlier off the air with Roy. Division I, for those who do not understand that, what that is they're a pure team. Pure team means that everybody that plays on that ice goes to that school.
Right.
So there's teams out there that are high school division teams that are made up from several high schools or surrounding areas. So they are not what they call a pure team, but they're a junior varsity team.
Right.
Very good teams, don't get me wrong. That doesn't mean they can't play hockey.
Right.
It's just the difference in designation. So they're heading back down, and it's really funny because they're playing the last 3 teams that they played, they're playing again for the state. So all those 4 teams, Santa Margarita, Capistrano United, and
Pacific Ridge.
I was going to call them Blue Ridge.
Blue Ridge?
No, they're Pacific Ridge.
Yeah,
it might have been. That's a street in Stockton. But anyhow, that's another story.
And Jay Sarah.
And Jay Sarah. They're all going to be down there playing in a round-robin event. They play tomorrow night, 1 game, 2 games on Saturday. And the ones with the best record out of all that will play for the championship on Sunday. So the final 2 people that get down, the final 2 teams that get down, get advanced to the national for the national title.
And then they'll get to play another series.
There'll be other schools that
that
are around in different states. So it's a fun time for St. Mary's. My hat's off to Derek Eisler and Zach Lytle. They started with nothing a year Not
a year ago.
ago.
A little over a year
And
ago.
and I don't mean nothing in a derogatory way for the players.
Inaugural season.
Inaugural season, and with let's say 12 players.
Yeah.
Now we have a roster of 20 or 21.
Right.
So what a big difference in a year, and what he's done to elevate these kids' game. I mean, I go to a lot of practices. I know you visited a few times at the practice, but the intensity on that ice is. I think the kids finally understand why he's intense with them, to learn the game and be smart with the puck. It's all coming to fruition this year. We'll see what happens when they get down to Riverside, but my hat's off to that team. St. Mary's for making the choice to have a team.
Yes.
And then they've rewarded that school by doing what they do, and the kids with the grade point averages and everything are doing a great job there.
And St. Mary's has become, and this is what's so cool, is that St. Mary's right here in Stockton, California, is known for their hockey program, their high school hockey program.
Absolutely.
Now that you got to think about that one.
Yes,
Because and that is tremendous, and for them to in their second year to go this far, my hat's off, like you said, to the coaches, because I know the coaches have poured everything that they have into these kids, and we know during the first year, that there was a lot of learning. There was a big learning curve that was going on. Of course, I always thought, God, we just need to win a few more games. And Rick always told me, Roy, it's about getting these kids prepared to play better hockey each and every game. And you know what? It all came to fruition this year.
Absolutely.
By having the larger roster, being able to recruit more players from all over the nation. This is a tremendous story for Stockton. Just an absolutely tremendous story. The kids, the players, they work hard. They're expected to really be dedicated to their game. And I'll tell you what, that dedication over the last 2 years has paid huge dividends this year, because they are now a confident team.
Right. And just to see, I was there. I felt the energy with the team. A lot of people, we turned some heads down there because we were an upstart team last year, and they thought we might win 2 games, 1 game. When we won the Jay Serra game, there was a woman sitting at the other end of the aisle from where I was watching the game, and she realized I was rooting for St. Mary's, and she walked down there at the end of the game, and she said, "We'll see you Friday night." Well, we had another game to play before we got to them, and I looked at her. She goes, "Yeah, my son plays for Santa Margarita, but you're going to definitely give us a run for our money, and we'll see you Friday night." She was more confident than I was, because I'm thinking we got to win a game. But they're down there; they see a lot of hockey, a lot more than we see up here.
Right.
But anyhow, that made me feel pretty good, and other people throughout the week that I was there would walk up to me and start talking about the program a little bit more, and it makes me proud that the boys are doing it under the tutelage of Eisler and Lytle.
Yes.
Hats to all of them. And here's the thing, man, they're making these players good young men.
Right.
They're not just out there. It's all about hockey.
Right.
I mean, when we're on the road, to give you a quick idea of what we did every day. 8:30, they had to be in breakfast. They had a buffet breakfast there. We had breakfast 8:30 to about 9:10. The boys would go back. We had study hall normally from 10:30 to 10 or 10:30, 2 hours anyhow. 10:30 to 12:30 or something. 10 to 12.
Yeah.
And it's really cool because. And Wendy Petroni was not with us. She's one of the boys' mothers, Luca's mother, teacher, and she usually conducts those. Well, here's the three old men. And all we are is monitors, right? So the boys have homework to do. We split them up so that they're not in a group.
Right.
We try to, and so that's the only time they had their laptops from school.
Right.
doing schoolwork. We monitor to make sure they weren't looking at Facebook or whatever, YouTube or whatever else, Snapchat or whatever it's called. And the boys were really studious about it. A couple of them we caught, but it wasn't that big a deal.
Yeah.
But for the most part, we were there monitoring them, making sure they were doing what they're supposed to be doing for their.
And it's
scholastic.
really quite a commitment from these, and they're learning the program. They're learning how to be successful, not only as in their hockey, but they're learning how to be a successful student too. Because going to St. Mary's is no easy task.
Yeah, you graduated.
I don't know how I graduated, but I do have a degree though.
I want to see it. I want to see. Bring it to the next show. But anyhow, so. Moving forward now, again, like I said, they're down there for the state finals. They didn't qualify for the state finals last year, but now they're here. Second year. I wish it well, and just do what they've been taught to do, and they'll be okay. I do want to bring out, we did have an all-star game. The Anaheim Duck League always has an all-star game. Coaches pick who goes down there. We sent seniors last year, and we only sent the senior this year. One of the other seniors did not. He had to do schoolwork, but Sean Keogh is one of our goaltenders. There's three of them, so they all don't get to play every game or dress for every game, and I want to tip my hat to Mr. Keogh because he became the most valuable player in the playoffs. For the senior game.
Oh,
so
wow.
Great job, Sean Keogh.
Great job, Sean.
We're going to miss you next year. And good. Hopefully, you're inspired to do what you want to do, and Coach will help you get there. So, I wanted to touch on that. We already pretty much touched on where we've been in the last 2 years, from the conception to where we are now. We're even getting chartered buses, man. We're not in vans. I mean, that's big.
That is
it's
huge.
big. I was part of that bus brigade.
You like the bus?
Yeah.
You like the bus?
I
now,
like
huh?
the bus. Yeah.
Better than the van.
Well, yeah, the vans I was driving, so yeah, it was better me in the bus than the van. But I appreciate the team allowing me to go with them. That's big because, I'm one of those kind of parents who kind of stand back and let the coaches do the thing, don't interfere with nothing, and so they allow me to tag along with the team. So it was a fun journey for me to do that. I don't know how those kids did it for 10 days because when we were done Saturday night, I was looking to get home.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a long way to be away from family and friends.
Yeah.
And we're pretty tough on the electronics, but I think it's a good thing because, as a parent, I know you want to know what your kid's doing on the road or talk to them, and they do get time, about a half hour a day, 45 minutes.
Yeah.
He allows them to make the phone calls home. Hey, everything's fine. I found a girlfriend down here. No, they don't talk about that. But so. It's good, and you know what they have to communicate.
Yeah.
They actually got to talk like you and I are doing.
There you go.
They're not sending messages or looking at what's the Facebook or whatever it is. So good for them.
Yeah.
The team has really matured. I think our incoming freshmen had a bigger advantage than we did as freshmen coming in last year because we didn't know what to expect.
Right.
Now we're in the routine, and we're doing a good job. I do want to talk about, because we were on the air with St. Mary's up here. I got to meet the parents that are listening to me already know this, but Black Dog Hockey, they do the televised games and podcasts from down in Anaheim. And the guys that do it, even before I went and met these guys, I always listened to them. They do a pretty doggone good job. Commentating on the game, knowing the players, knowing a little bit about backstories and so on and so forth. I want to give a shout out to these guys because they were very hospitable to me. I can't spell it, so don't ask
Hospitable.
me. Hospitable. To me. Eric Pesolano, good man. And as we were talking, we just met each other that night. Actually, he was there Tuesday night. Didn't broadcast the game, but we were standing outside the broadcast booth, and we were chatting. And he goes, "Oh, you're from Stockton." He says, "My girlfriend's best friend's boyfriend is with the Heat."
Oh,
I said, "Really?" He said, "I said, what's his name?" He said, "He said he's a equipment guy for them." So Peter's their head equipment guy. Says, if Peter goes, no. He says, the guy's name's Campbell. I said, you mean Ryan Campbell? He goes, that's the guy. I said, well, he was a Colt with Anthony. He's older than Anthony, but they went through the Colts organization together.
Oh, really?
And he still works part-time at the ice rink.
Wow.
So what a small world it is, right?
Wow, no
so
kidding.
he tasked me. He goes, I'm a broadcaster. I do hockey. I do baseball. He does a lot of stuff in Southern California.
Yeah.
He says, but I don't know how to skate. I'm probably the only broadcaster that don't skate. I said, no, you're looking at another one. I said, I don't skate either. I said, so we got something in common. And then Chuck Lasik, just a great guy. He's got more of my personality. He just says what it is. I kind of enjoy that. And I got to meet Coach Mike Perkins, who coached against Derek years ago in the junior leagues. But he's a pretty intense, but a great guy. Got to meet him. And then Christian, and I'm going to butcher your name, but because I never got it, but I think it's Eiton. Christian Eiton. He works on the broadcast. He does some talking. I think he does some back scenes of the work. Great group of guys. I don't think they're doing any of the games this weekend. I believe it's Live Barn, which is just basically a video of it. There's no commentary, but better than nothing if your kid's on the road. But these two people I got to meet, the first guy I met when I walked in the building is this guy named Matt Blanchard. And I said, and we talked, and Derek introduced him to me, and he says, I said, what do you do here? He said, well, I'm the president of the league. I'm the director of the league. Holy buckets, man. You're the main man,
Totally.
But what a great guy. I mean, good guy. We had, every night I went in the rink, if I'd see him or he'd see me, we'd come over and chat. And then this young lady, she's the backbone. Man, I hate to tell you, but I think you know this anyhow. Vicky Eggers. Vicky is the heart and soul of that Anaheim Duck League, along with Matt, obviously. But she's the muscle, man. She's the muscle. You don't cross her, and everything's good. But, when it was all said and done, we were standing in the lobby waiting for the boys to come out after their loss in the championship game. And she made it a point to seek me out for some reason, and came over and said, you guys played very, very well. We're happy to have you in the league. She was just a pleasure to talk to. And so I want to tip my hat to those people for being hospitable to us. Here we are, a new team in their league, and we're doing okay. We're doing good things. We're taking respect into that league. The Black Dog hockey guys tell me if we can get a home game up here next year at Oak Park, they want to do a broadcast out of Oak Park. So that'll be a fun time. Yeah, it'll be a fun time. So my hat's off to them. When they're in Irvine next year, tune in to Black Dog Hockey. It costs a little money to do it, but it's well worth it, man. It's like you were there. It's like watching the Sharks or the Heat on the ice, and it's good to keep up. You hear your kid's name and you go, wow, he's actually on TV. I mean, you've watched some of those.
Oh, yeah. Excellent video.
Yeah,
excellent commentary.
They do a
yes.
good job.
Great job.
What else are we going to talk about?
Right here. This one right here, I think.
Oh, this is a great one. This is a great story. So I'm sitting down there, and we have a young man, Corey Pittner, that's going to – Tory Pittner. Let me get his name right, because I'll be talking about him a lot next year. He's a defenseman. He's coming to us. He'll be a first-year freshman at St. Mary's, and he's come to our practices. If you want to get a sneak peek, he'll be here on March 7th and 8th, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But he sat next to me the whole game, and to listen to this young man who I believe is just turning 15, know the stuff he knows about a game. He's calling out what these guys should be doing with our guys doing with the puck, and I'm going, holy buckets, man! This kid is dialed in, and he's not a sarcastic kid. But he knows what to do.
Right.
And I've talked to a couple of the players. One of them, my grandson, and he goes, he's going to be a big help to us, Pop.
Oh, wonderful.
This kid is going to be.
Now he came from where? Where did he come from?
I'm glad you asked that, because that kind of leads into.
That was my question.
Very good, boy. You're reading right off my notes. Good for you. But anyhow, he currently playing with the AAA LA Kings.
Oh.
So they live in the Bay Area. They travel down every week to LA to play in their games or fly over. So and it's a very good league to play in, and it's a good team that they play for.
Yeah.
But he's really looking to come here.
Yeah.
He's closer to home,
Right.
obviously, and a quick backstory. I can talk for hours, so if we got to hang up, let us know, okay, Rich? So anyhow, I get to meet his grandmother. Pittner does not sound Italian to me whatsoever. I mean, I'm not. Pulaski doesn't either, but
Right.
it's Italian. So
Hold up.
his grandmother came to the game,
Yeah.
and she looked like some of my aunts.
Yeah.
I said, "What nationality are you?" She said, "I'm Italian." And so anyhow, we hit it off. Guess what her maiden name is?
What is it?
Morelli.
Really? Should
Yes.
Morelli, huh?
The Peter Morelli gym over there.
All right.
His father was her uncle.
Oh, no kidding.
That's a small world, man.
Wow.
So Riza is his mother, Pittner.
Uh-huh.
They go over there to visit the school to make sure they want to come. And when she saw that name on the bill, she goes, "We're coming here."
Wow.
That's family.
That's
there.
family right there.
Yeah,
When they
so-
took a tour of the campus?
Yeah, right.
Wow.
I mean, out of all the places in the world,
Right.
And the lady that I met, I'm sorry, Grandma, that I don't remember your name.
Yeah.
But she is in Santa Ana,
Oh, okay.
and that's where she lives.
Ah.
So to make that connection all the way up here is
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Wow,
so
that's
it was like
crazy.
it was in the water.
Good.
So anyhow, Risa Pittner, the L.A. Kings brought in Greg Powers. Greg Powers is the head coach at Arizona State University Division
okay.
I hockey.
Wow.
Very intelligent man. I've been in seminars with him before. They have a camp that Anthony's attended twice.
Mm-hmm.
I got to meet this guy, great guy. And then Mike Fields, his assistant, has come up here and helped Derek with his residential camp.
Right.
So I got to get involved with him a little bit. So anyhow, he gives this speech, which I've already heard because of Anthony being down there, to the Kings. So now Risa Pittner, Tori's mom, goes up to him after the game, or after the seminar, excuse me, and she says, "Can I ask you a question?" He says, "Yeah." He says, "We know Mike Fields because he's helped Derek Eisler, and Tori's got a chance to go up there and play with St. Mary's hockey.
Right.
And next year, that's what we're going to do. But if you were in my shoes, should he stay here in the Kings organization?" And take this with a grain of salt, folks. I'm not putting down the LA Kings organization by saying this. So I got to preference in South America this, so I don't want any emails. So she tells me she's talking to Greg Powers, and he says, "I have to answer that question." He said, "Derek Eisler is the way to go."
Wow.
I mean, that's coming from a D1 college coach that's done very, very well for them.
Right.
They're hoping to finish 1 or 2 in Division I hockey
Right.
in the United States of America.
Wow.
So Derek is well-rounded, liked by a lot of people. And Derek's one of those guys, and I've known him for years, and he's one of those guys that either people love or they hate. And it's a shame that people hate him because they don't know.
Right.
So he's old school, but he's not old school.
Right.
You know what I mean? He makes them accountable.
Right.
Some people don't like that
Right.
because in today's society,
Yeah.
you're entitled.
Right.
Right. So anyhow, that was cool. I heard about that. We're gonna be short on time here in about 2 or 3 minutes. We're gonna shut this down, but I want to get the people that want to come and watch this team that I've been talking about for 45 minutes. Oh, okay. March 7th and 8th. March 7th and 8th here at Oak Park Ice Rink. They're playing 2 games against Faith Lutheran, and they're from Las Vegas. Now, this team contacted us, or Derek didn't come. Not me.
Right.
Although I include myself quite
Yeah.
a bit.
Oh,
You notice
we're
that?
St. Mary's Rams hockey.
Anyhow. So they asked him, they said, "Hey, we'd like to come up and play your team." And he said, "Well, sure. Why not?" Right? So they're going to be here for 3 games set. March 7th is a Saturday. They're going to have a 9:15 a.m. in the morning game. Take a little break and come back at 7:30 that night. And that's also going to be our senior night. We're going to tip our hats to the seniors that are leaving us
Okay.
that night. And then we play on the 8th at 10:45 in the morning. Great hockey to watch. Faith Lutheran is a very good team. I've done a little research on them. They've done very well. He's the type of coach who wants to bring his team to play against better people.
Right.
They may be better than us. Who knows? But we got to watch it, right?
Right.
So they'll be here on March 7th and 8th. That's a week from this weekend.
Okay.
Not this weekend
Right,
because
right.
the team's in Riverside, but next weekend they'll be here at our very own Stockton Oak Park ice rink. And what a tip to have. We got a team from Las Vegas that wants to come up here and play us. I mean,
We got teams waiting to come here to Stockton to play hockey.
yeah, amazing.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's good stuff. So that's all coming up. We are going to have a golf tournament on Sunday the 8th at Oakmore. Give Roy or I a call, Chase Chevrolet, and ask for Roy or Rick if you want in. $100 a player. Some of the money will be going to cancer, the prostate cancer, and Ewing cancer for my grandson.
Right.
Two great nonprofits. So even the golf is nonprofit. So it's a donation. So if you don't play golf, you feel you want to give us 10, 20, we'll take all donations that we can
Right.
get. Helps the hockey team, plus helps these two great cancer organizations in the area. So we're looking forward to what's coming up for these players. We are looking for host families, so if you're interested, give Roy or I a call, and we'll hook you up with the right people at the school. We have possibly 15 more kids coming next year, as many as 15.
Right.
5 or 6, I think, are already done. My numbers might be off a little bit, but come spend some time with them. You hit the golf course. Even if you don't play, you get to hang around them, see what kind of individuals they are. I think you'd be very impressed.
Right.
The boys carry themselves pretty well, well-traveled. Haven't got lost in the airport. We haven't lost in the airport, so that's a good thing. I'm going to give you, Roy, a few minutes because I know you got something dear to your heart that you started last year. With the All-Star football?
Oh, yeah. Just well, we are in the planning stages of our 47th annual Lions All-Star football game. The game theme this year is Bigger Vision. Bigger Vision represents the vision of the committee, the football committee, to bring this game back to the prominence of the glory days of sold-out and standing room only stadiums. It's an absolutely fabulous community event that highlights and showcases our best senior high school football players in an 8-county district. It's a district Lions event, and we've been doing it for 47. This will be our 47th year, so we're really excited about that. It will be on June 13th, and it will be at A.G. Spano Stadium at Lincoln High School.
Well, that's good. That's a great event. I helped Roy at the end. I didn't do much. I just showed up that day and helped what I could do. And it is a great event. It's good to see the community coming together. Stockton gets a lot of bad press, sometimes rightfully so, but not necessarily the way people should look at us. There's a lot of great people that do a lot of great things in this community. Unfortunately, that doesn't sell newspapers, and so you don't hear about it. But hopefully on this show, and then we have a Car Guy show next Wednesday night where we get more involved in the community needs. Roy and I do a show broadcast right here at the Voice of San Joaquin, so tune into that. I want to say hello to a few people that tuned in to our live feed. Tanny Ning, thank you for listening. Robert Lynch, thank you. Mr. Joe Curtis, my buddy. Danny Chapman, thank you. Frank Coley, I just talked to your brother-in-law today. He says great things about
said hello.
you. He said hello. My cousin Christina Mosesso, I'll get it out, not Modesto, Mosesso.
She lives in Modesto.
No, she lives in Newbury Park, California.
Okay.
I mean, she's
Sorry about that.
way down south. Kimberly Ojeda Clark, my Asian girlfriend, friend. Eddie Faith, thank you. Casey Rao joined us. Julie Thrasher, and good old JR. JR August, my buddy from long ago. His son, grandson actually, Brenham, and Anthony played as young, probably sport. I think they might have made it through Pee Wee, but he's a great guy. I miss him being around the rink.
Right.
But shout out to all these people that tune into our show. We've come a long way in 2 years, you and I.
Wow, what a journey.
What a journey. Yeah, I can't tell you how many
Incredible
shows it's been.
journey. And it's only going to get better.
only going to get better. Hopefully, you get better people up here than Roy and I that really know what's going on. But we do the best we can with what we have to work with. I want to thank everybody that listening. I know my wife tuned in earlier, my daughter. Thank you for listening. We just want to wish the boys great. Mike Robinson, I know you're out there
Always a
listening.
shout out to Mike.
That guy, nothing bunt.
Great supporter.
Great supporter.
Nothing bunt cakes.
I'm gonna do a shout out. This lady, I know she listens to once in a while. She'll be there Sunday night or Saturday night, excuse me, to watch hockey. Mrs. Beverly Brandon and Ty Brandon. She owns California Welding,
Right.
and they were very generous to donate our black uniforms.
Beautiful.
And the boys really love playing with them.
Right on.
I believe we're going to play with those this weekend, depending on what other jerseys that the other team brings in. But thank you very much. We've had a lot of community support. John Chase for giving us your airplane or jet, excuse me, not an airplane, jet twice for our dinner. That's made money for the team. There's a lot of people to thank. So if I left anybody out, it wasn't intentional. Mike Bird does a great job. His wife Shannon Bird, Ginger Tambora, the team manager, Adam and Jim. They're back at the school doing their thing, but I know that they want our that we have their support
Right.
and moving this thing forward. So great times out there. Any last words, Roy?
Just amazing, and they're continuing. They will continue to get to be amazing, and I'm just so proud that it's right here in Stockton.
Yeah, it's good. It's good stuff for Stockton. Instead of the bad stories, let's get the good stuff out there, man. And we'll be back in 2 weeks. I don't know what date that is. I don't have a calendar.
A couple of weeks on a Thursday.
Yeah, it's
We're
a
good.
Thursday. 2 weeks from tonight. So we'll be into March then. Listen to the Car Guys next Wednesday. I believe that's the
next
4th.
Wednesday. Car
Roy and
Guys.
I will be back on with some
Yeah, we'll
community
have special
involvement.
guests. Special guests.
March 12th, we'll be back on the air with St. Mary's Hockey. Hopefully we'll have a coach in here and some players.
Yeah.
Roy's always invited. I drag him in.
Sidekick.
I
Whenever
drag
he
him in
needs
when
a warm body,
so the people
I'll
will
get
have
an
to listen to me
invitation.
talk for an hour. And it gets tiring for me to talk for an hour, even though I'm excited about what's going on. But thank you, everybody, for tuning in. As you want to do the sign-off together? You don't know what the sign-off is, do you? I'm going to do it slow. Keep your skates on the ice.
Keep your skates on the ice
and reach for the stars.
and reach for
Good
the
night, everybody.
stars.
Thank you for
Good
tuning
night,
in.
everybody.
Bye-bye.
St. Mary's Rams hockey. Good.
This is the voice of San Joaquin, and that has been the St. Mary's Ice Hockey Show this Thursday evening with Rick and Roy.
Hey, thank you, man.
Oh, it's
Thank
a
you.
pleasure. You
Thank
do
This
the
guy
radio.
saved us, or you wouldn't have had to listen to us tonight. We want to thank him.
He
Thank
was
you.
a great goaltender. He made the best save
He
tonight.
did.
I like the goaltender's skates. They got they're
right.
the double,
right.
whereas everybody else is on a single.
that's right.
And I hope those the boots themselves, they got to be well made, because it seems a second-rate one, you end up feeling that rig.
Yeah.
And you don't want to feel that rig.
No, you don't.
And hockey is that's a great sport.
Yeah, thank you,
sport.
Richard. We appreciate it.
What was that? 8 games in 10 days.
Yep.
You're beaten up.
That's a lot.
You're
of
big.
work.
Lot of hockey.
There's some bruises there.
Yes, there is.
Yes, sir.
You know, and don't like the term playing with pain, because if you're suffering a joint injury, you shouldn't be out there.
Right.
Yeah.
But if it's bruises, well,
Yeah.
ice, and then
Yeah.
Get after it, man.
Ice it down.
Yeah.
Well,
that's
we're
it.
about ready to ice our show down tonight. So anyway, thank you for listening.
Yep.
Tune in a couple weeks.
All righty, we return to silent running. This is the voice of San Joaquin.org. All righty, call it a wrap.
Thank you so much.
Oh, it's a pleasure.